Good evening. I'm Myrtle Hightower, and I would like to welcome you to our 2013 celebration of the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. As chair of this event, I'm honored that you have chosen to join us for this annual celebration that is near and dear to my heart. Tonight's theme, Boldly Lead, Brilliantly Serve, Continue the Dream, celebrates the everyday heroes who have chosen careers in service or who have given generously of their time and talent for the benefit of their community. Now, special thanks to all of the students who are participating in tonight's program, including my friends from Plano ISD's Head Start program, with a special greeting for our everyday heroes.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you, police officer, for keeping us safe. Thank you, teachers, for helping us learn. Thank you, counselors, for helping us play nice. Thank you, custodian, for keeping our school clean. Gracias, el personal de la cafetería, por comidas tan saludables. Thank you, bus drivers, for driving me safety. Gracias a la enfermera por chequearnos los ojos. Damos gracias a los bomberos por mantenernos seguros. Everybody come and take a seat. No talking. Be nice to your neighbor.
Good evening, I'm Ronnie Cantu, and as Plano ISD's 2012 Elementary Teacher of the Year, I'm very pleased to serve as MC for tonight's program, honoring the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Among the many talented students who will help illustrate the theme, Boldly Lead, Brilliantly Serve, Continue the Dream, are middle school students who will have a voice throughout this evening's program as we spotlight community service. Please join me now in welcoming our first Salute to Service.
We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. Winston Churchill.
We are not placed on this earth for ourselves, but are placed here for each other. If you are always there for others, then in time of need, someone will be there for you. By Jeff Warner.
You must be the change that you wish to see in the world. Mahatma Gandhi.
The leaders who work most effectively, they don't seem to say I. And that's not because they've trained themselves not to say I.
They don't think I, they think we, they think team. Peter Drucker.
What we do is but a drop in the ocean, but because of that drop, the ocean could be lesser. We can't do great things, we can only do small things with great love. Mother Teresa.
I'm proud to share the stage with our talented students, and I'm equally honored to share the podium with our district and community leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Richard Mackin.
Thank you, Ronnie. And what a great night to see our kids. Our city leaders are here, our chamber. It's just a great night to share the stage with those that are participating. And on behalf of Plano ISD, I'm pleased to echo the sentiments of Dr. Myrtle Hightower in welcoming you this evening as we showcase the talents of these students from all over the district. We are proud to continue the annual community celebration, which got started 26 years ago right here at Williams High School as a Black History Month celebration. And if you get a chance, let Dr. Hightower tell you a little bit about that event, as she shared with me. The event originated with that very special person I just mentioned, the leader in our community, Dr. Myrtle Hightower, who is the MLK Event Committee Chair. Dr. Hightower is a retired Plano ISD school counselor and remains an active volunteer who serves our community in so many ways. Dr. Hightower, we appreciate your boldly brilliant leadership and service. I have here with me a letter from Senator John Cornyn congratulating the school district with a special recognition of Dr. Hightower for the continued success of this annual event. Dr. Hightower, your community thanks you. We love and appreciate you, and at this time would like for you to stand so that we can recognize you. I would also like to thank the district administrators and community leaders who served with Dr. Hightower on this year's planning committee. Would members of the MLK Planning Committee please stand so that we may recognize you? And now I would like to welcome the Plano East Panther Battalion under the leadership of Command Sergeant Major Michael Franklin for the posting of the colors. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated.
Is to not be bought or measured with money. It is sincerity and integrity. Douglas Adams.
If your actions can inspire others to do more, learn more, and become more, then you are a leader. John Quincy Adams.
Love cannot remain by itself. It has no meaning. Love must be put with an action, and that action is service. Mother Teresa.
He who wishes to secure the good of others has already secured his own. Confucius.
I don't know what your future may be, but I do know one thing. The ones around you have fought and will serve to keep you happy. Albert Schweitzer.
I shall pass through this world but once. Any good, therefore, that I can do, or any kindness that I can show to any human being, let me do it now. Do not let me neglect or defect this, because Mahatma Gandhi.
Tonight is a homecoming of sorts for this event, which originated right here at Williams High School back in 1987. Please join me in thanking the school for hosting this year's celebration as we welcome Williams High School Principal Lynn Ojeda.
Good evening. It is an honor for Williams High School to host tonight's program, saluting the leadership that is boldly brilliant and the service of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., as well as celebrating the diversity of our school district and of our community. Special thanks to Robinson Middle School musicians who provided a delightful welcome for guests as they entered the building tonight. They are the Robinson Middle School Jazz Band under the direction of Kimberly Hernandez and Jason Duck, whom you heard in our Warrior Center, and the South of Legacy Jazz Orchestra, directed by Mary Havenstreit, who provided the perfect accompaniment for the MLK artwork on display. Please join me in thanking these young musicians. Another group of musicians joining us tonight is the Plano Children's Chorale, under the direction of Christy Berkeley from Sagling Elementary, and accompanied by Kim Nithyananda from Bethany Elementary. Co-director Virginia Asiatico from Daffron Elementary and Administrative Assistant Robin Hyde from Houston Elementary are assisting with this performance. I had the wonderful pleasure of being a mom of a child in the Plano Children's Chorale. They have a wonderful legacy in our community and are an outstanding representation of the young talent that we have shared among our many campuses. Please join me in welcoming them to the stage for their performance of Amani Utupe.
We need strength to carry on our load. Amani, Utupena. Everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make the subject and the verb agree to serve. You don't have to know the second theory of thermodynamics and physics to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love, by Martin Luther King Jr.
To do more for the world than the world does for you. That is success, by Henry Ford.
We are prone to judge success by the index of our salaries or the size of our automobiles, rather than by the quality of our service and relationship to humanity. Martin Luther King Jr.
Believe when you are least happy. Believe when you are most unhappy that there is something you can do in this world. So long as you can sweeten another's pain, life is not in vain. Helen Keller.
Life's most urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Martin Luther King Jr.
Please join me now in welcoming School Board President Tammy Richards, who will share greetings from the Board of Trustees.
Good evening. On behalf of the Plano Independent School District Board of Trustees, I welcome you to this community celebration and tribute to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King is remembered as a man of great courage and wisdom who promoted equality and peace. He worked hard to put his beliefs into action, and we celebrate his bold leadership and brilliant service. I am proud to highlight the service and leadership of my colleagues, the Plano ISD Board of Trustees. Please stand as I call your name and remain standing until all have been recognized. They are School Board Vice President Nancy Humphrey, Board Secretary Marilyn Hinton, Trustee Carolyn Mobius, Trustee David Stolley, and Trustees Michael Friedman and Missy Bender send their regards. Let's have a hand for my fellow trustees. Also joining us tonight are esteemed officials from the City of Plano. Please stand as I call your name and remain standing until all have been recognized. Mayor Phil Dyer, Councilmember Andre Davidson, Councilmember Pat Gallagher, and Councilmember Pat Miner. Let's please applaud our council members. We also have with us tonight the chairman of our Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Joe Dwyer, and their president, Jamie Jolly. Would you please stand? I'd also like to recognize one of the representatives from our PTA council that does so much for us, Mrs. Denise Burke. Please stand, Denise. I thank you all for your service. I'm pleased to introduce one of the favorite features of this annual program, the MLK Art Contest finalists. This year's contest is sponsored by Capital One in conjunction with the Plano ISD Education Foundation. Joining us from Capital One is Monica Shortino, Senior Manager for Community Relations. Ms. Shortino, would you please stand up so we can thank you and Capital One for your generous sponsorship? I would now like to direct your attention to the video screen to view the artwork of our MLK Art Contest finalists. It's amazing. That's the artwork of kids. And so they so beautifully express tonight's theme. So congratulations to all those children and their families. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Phil Dyer to the center stage to present gift certificates provided by Capital One to our first place art contest winners. Winners, as I call your name, please come to the stage where Mayor Dyer will greet you. All right. First place in the elementary division, Ellie Ruan, Matthews Elementary School. First place in the middle school division, Andrew Yu, Rice Middle School. First place in the high school division, Evan Ye, Vines High School. And first place in the senior high school division, Amy Sheen, Plano Senior High. Please join me in giving one more round of applause for these wonderful students. Thank you, students, and Mayor Dyer. Okay. Thank you.
The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Mahatma Gandhi.
Living is the art of loving. Loving is the art of caring. Caring is the art of sharing. Sharing is the art of living. If you want to lift up yourself, lift up someone else.
Don't quack like a duck, soar like an eagle. Ken Blanchard.
Volunteers are not paid, not because they are worthless, but because they are priceless.
The next presenters are 8 students in the 2nd and 4th grades who will read their original letters to Dr. King. Their letters were selected in a writing contest to be featured tonight. Writing contest winners from the 2nd grades are Kevin Husky, Barksdale Elementary School. Wajiha Shahab, Carlisle Elementary School. Nivriti Bonapali, Hickey Elementary School. And Giovanna Maya, McCall Elementary School. Writing contest winners from the 4th grade are Priscilla Diaz, Davis Elementary School. Lily Jo Harrison, Mitchell Elementary School. Pavitra Kumar, Skaggs Elementary School. And Maria Isabel Garcia, Daffron Elementary School.
Dear Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., thank you for all the wonderful things you have done. I love you for boldly leading our country. I love you for brilliantly serving all blacks and whites. You dreamed that all people would be kind and courteous, be respectful, and to fight hate with love. You also hope that your kids would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by their character. At my school, we don't care about our skin color, but we do care about our attitude. I can keep your dream alive by standing by your dream and never leaving your side. I can be generous to others even when others are not so generous to me. At my school, we don't hate each other, we love each other. Learning about you has taught me to keep your dream alive, never stop loving, not to judge people by their skin color, and to love all people. Again, thanks for all you have done and for giving your life for all people. Sincerely, Kevin Husky Jr. Dear Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., my favorite part about you is that you were a very bold man, and because of you, all children can go to school together. I also liked your speech, Dream Day. That speech helped making the laws fair to African Americans. Dr. King, I really liked your saying, in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. It is like if someone is getting bullied and you are silent, it is like you are on the bully side. But if you stand up for them, it will be like you are on the good side. I learned from your life that darkness cannot drive away darkness, only light can. You are a great man who worked his hardest to change the world into a better place. You changed without fighting or hating. You showed that hard work, responsibility, and talking it out will solve all problems. If you were alive, I would ask you to continue working on your dream. There are so many wars going on in this world that I would ask you to fix. Since you can't continue your dream, I will continue it for you. I promise to always stand by the good side. Love, Wajiha Shahab.
Dear Martin Luther King, you were a you helped people by fighting with words and making laws fair to the black people so they could do the exact same thing as the white people. Now they can both be equal. You were also a great man and you led by example. I can still try to be a great little leader like you by being friends with other people who don't have friends at school. You boldly served because you fought with peace and you don't need guns to fight. You serve by talking to people, and you change laws to make it fair for everyone. I can serve by talking to people to help them understand to clean up the school. I can also pick up paper towels in the bathroom area. This helps us to have pride in our school too. I can continue your dream by helping older people and even younger people with their needs, especially if they're poor. I can help the earth by telling people not to kick trees or pick flowers and destroy them in our schoolyard. If anybody needs anything, I can help them with their needs, and I can raise money to get them water and food and whatever they need to live. We can continue your dream by focusing on the world and serving other people instead of serving just ourselves. This will help our families, our schools, and our world. Sincerely, Nivriti Buenavali.
Querido Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., yo deseo ser un líder valiente como usted para enfrentarme al mal y así decirles a las personas que están haciendo algo incorrectamente. Si alguien te hace algo, tienes que enfrentarte a esa persona, sin importar cualquier tamaño que ellos sean. Si tienes miedo, tienes que ser valiente. Si quieres que algo pare, no puedes rendirte solo porque es difícil. Tienes que seguir luchando por todo lo que quieres. Por eso le agradezco a usted por todo lo que hizo y darme un ejemplo a seguir. Yo estoy asistiendo a las personas como usted y hago cosas buenas para ellos. En nuestra escuela estamos ayudando a muchas personas pobres y enfermas. Estamos donando latas para las personas que están hambrientas y les donamos una cobija a personas sufriendo de cáncer y de frío. Me gusta su sueño porque es una manera de ayudar a mi comunidad. Seguiré ayudando a personas heridas y también les donaré cosas para una vida mejor. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., yo continuaré su sueño tratando a las personas con respeto, cariño y cortesía. Sinceramente, yo, Giovanna Maya. Dear Dr. King, you made a huge difference in the world. You boldly led, brilliantly served, and a lot of people continued your dream. In the 1960s, you boldly led because you led many people to march for what you believed in. You also brilliantly served because you left a legacy for all of us to follow, which was your dream.
You had a wonderful dream one night. The dream was all different skin colors of people in the world should have the same rights and freedoms. Then you told the whole world your dream, and on that day, your dream did come true. Since you did something very wonderful, I would like to do something like that too. I can boldly lead by believing what I can do, like standing up to bullies. I can also brilliantly serve by helping our environment, raising money for cancer, and helping people with disabilities. I especially can continue your dream by not judging people by their color and knowing what is inside someone's heart. I will and always continue your dream. Love, Priscilla Diaz.
Dear Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., you are no ordinary person. You are a person full of hopes, dreams, and faith, and I admire you for that. You stood up for the rights of humanity and the love, not hate, that this world has to offer. And that's why you're one of the boldest leaders that this world has seen. When the world wanted war, you wanted peace. When the world wanted hate, you wanted love. And when the world wanted colored and non-colored to be separated, you wanted them to be a family. You walked, you talked, you sung, and you prayed with the colored and non-colored of this world. You did it with hope, you did it with a dream, and you did it with faith. And that's why you served us like no one else has ever served us before. I know that there are still problems out there in this world, and I am a Girl Scout, so I do a lot of charity work, such as Meals on Wheels and helping veterans overseas. You did not just move one person, you moved the entire world as one. And one day, I wish that I can do the same. Sincerely, Lily Harrison.
Dear Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I would like to thank you with all my heart for all your hard work and leadership in helping our nation thrive by making innocent African American citizens get a life of freedom. You took a great risk by giving a helping hand to the strugglers like you and boldly led them to the right direction for their own rights, from sitting on the bus to being able to vote. Now, we all accept everyone's odds and differences and come together as a family. Everyone is interested in other people's cultures like mine. They ask me questions of why I have a colorful dot on my forehead, but not in a mean way, a curious way that makes me feel like all the other kids. When you were there, you brilliantly served our country and, like a construction worker, fixed all our problems. You taught us not to put a fist and threaten them, but to take action by using effective words, and that's what made a difference. Nowadays, everyone is free to do anything or go anywhere without any hesitation at all. We, as in our nation, from black to white, shall come together and continue the dream for everyone to taste freedom. Martin Luther King, we have boldly led, brilliantly served, and we shall do our part to continue the dream. Sincerely, Pavitra Kumar.
Estimado Dr. King Jr., nos hizo que fuéramos más libres porque luchó por nuestros derechos de ir a la misma escuela, de ser tratados iguales y acabar con la segregación. Nos dio la oportunidad de estar aquí por guiar audazmente y servir genialmente a las personas para que no pelearan y resolvieran sus problemas de manera pacífica. Si usted estuviera, el actual presidente, el señor Obama, le daría las gracias. Si estuviera usted vivo, lo elegiríamos para presidente, para continuar el sueño y pudiera usted ver todas las cosas buenas que consiguió para todos nosotros. Nunca lo olvidaremos por ser un guía audaz que sirvió genialmente. Gracias a usted, continúa el sueño. Sinceramente, María Isabel.
Wow. How about another round of applause for these talented essay writers? Your messages to Dr. King are an inspiration to us all. I am pleased to welcome Diversity Advisory Committee Chair Shri Balachandran to help recognize several community members to embody tonight's theme, boldly lead, brilliantly serve, continue the dream.
Good evening. I'm pleased to present this year's winners of our Diversity Leadership Award. This award is coordinated annually by the Plano ISD Diversity Advisory Committee to honor students, staff, and community members whose action honor the work and ideals of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Will our nominees please stand and remain standing until all names have been called? Lily Jensby from Christie Elementary School, Sharon Casmore, Haggard Middle School, Foreman Elementary PTA Executive Board, and Andrews Elementary PTA Executive Board. These nominees have all made an impact at their campuses and throughout our community. Please give them a big round of applause. I am pleased to be joined by Rice Middle School students Alan Holmes and Yash Pawate, who will help present your awards, along with the Diversity Advisory Committee members Autrey Daniels and Dolly Thomas. The winners of our Community Impact Award for the group is the Foreman Elementary PTA Executive Board. The Foreman PTA Executive Board promotes and embraces diversity through its multicultural membership. The board is a model to the school and community that all people are valued for the service they provide and the contribution that they make to the community. The PTA deliberately disseminates information in English and Spanish and has a diversity chair who holds the board accountable to maintain diversity. Our Diversity Leadership Award for the individual goes to Lily Jensby of Christie Elementary School. Lily Jensby is the chair of Christie Elementary School Diversity Team. Each year, she brings the school community together to celebrate the school's cultural diversity at the Christie Culture Fest. The event is best attended event of the year in the school with more than 30 cultures represented. I extend my sincere congratulations to our Diversity Award nominees and winners. Thank you.
Only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. Albert Einstein.
Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead.
This country will not be a good place for us to live in unless it is a good place for all of us to live in. Theodore Roosevelt.
I have found that among other benefits, giving liberties the soul of the giver by Maya Angelou.
It is one of the most beautiful compensations of life that no man can sincerely help another without helping himself. Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Life is for service. Fred Rogers.
It is now my pleasure to welcome to the stage 6 students representing our 3 senior high schools as they share their reflections about community service. They are Helen Butcher and Mehak Norani of Plano East Senior High, Kristen Whitaker and Amy Sial of Plano Senior High, and Jacob Abaraha and Iris Malhoff of Plano West Senior High.
Hello. I am honored to be able to speak tonight in celebration of a man who has done so much to spread love and unity in our country, as well as in honor of those that continue to do so. And to them, I say thank you. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "An individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity." In a world swamped with social media and a crippling epidemic of keeping up with the Joneses, sometimes it becomes easy to put our primary focus on our image, our wants, our needs. As Dr. King wisely points out, this self-serving tendency is a shallow way to experience life. Sure, happiness can come from accumulating material things, titles, or degrees, but this happiness is fleeting. True and lasting joy comes from putting the needs of others first. As you serve others, you will find that the benefits you receive from brightening a person's day will far outweigh that which you can achieve by serving yourself. In my own life, I have seen how service can profoundly affect the content of one's character. 7 years ago, my brother Ammon was paralyzed in a wrestling accident. After this traumatic event, I watched as hundreds of friends and strangers took a moment to step out of the whirlwind of their activities and struggles to help a young man heal. It seemed like every day there was someone at my door ready to help Ammon with his physical therapy or watch my younger siblings or bring over meals while my brother stayed in the hospital. This constant display of selfless giving I was able to observe inspired me to shift my priorities to make room for more service. At home, I sought out ways to help make my brother's life easier. At school, I volunteered to help out and get to know the people in my class that had disabilities, in my partner's PE class. The more time I spent with my brother and these students, the more I grew to love them. At first, I thought I was the one who was giving, but I soon learned that I was really receiving a gift more precious than anything I could buy. It doesn't take much to experience this joy. People in need are always around us. Sometimes all it takes is a smile and a wave to lift another. I know in my own life, one of the most memorable acts of service I was able to receive came in the form of a simple hello. From raking a neighbor's leaves to building homes in underprivileged neighborhoods, Dr. King has assured us that all labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance and should be undertaken with painstaking excellence. Everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mehak Narani, and I attend Plano East Senior High. People always commend me on my dedication to voluntary service. In fact, the very reason I was chosen to speak at today's event is because one of my teachers just happened to have a glance at my resume and noticed that a lot of my time outside of school is spent on voluntary service. However, I've always felt that these compliments are very much unsubstantiated. From a very young age, voluntary service to my community has been a cultural and religious norm for me. In fact, I've never known service as anything but simply helping people for the warm feeling of satisfaction it can give. One of the very faint memories I have of my childhood is meekly asking the authorities at my Jamaat Khana, which is a place of prayer as an Ismaili Muslim, whether I could become a youth volunteer, even though I was a bit younger than the required age minimum. I wanted to do whatever it took to be helpful in any way I could, whether it be wiping the tables or just putting away people's shoes. I so admired the dedication and commitment of the older volunteers at not only internal prayer ceremonies, but at outreach events with the larger community. I remember admiring how they treated service as an honor, as a privilege, not something they were forced to do, to fluff up a resume or fill up some other requirement. And I aspired to be just like them one day. Today, I feel that the legacy of these older volunteers at my Jamaat Khana that I so adored as a naive 6-year-old girl has carried on into my daily life as a Muslim teenager in the American society. Every single day, I find some way to exemplify the Islamic tradition of service. And I've realized that service isn't just building homes for underprivileged families or working at a soup kitchen. It's helping someone with their calculus homework or sharing your lunch with someone who doesn't have any. It is true that service has many advantages to offer a young person in today's society. Experience in various vocations, networking for professional fields, or simply giving back to one's community and internal gratification. However, for me, service and leadership represent so much more than these simple benefits. For me, service is a way of life, as well as a way to represent to the mainstream community what the religion of Islam actually exemplifies: peace, harmony, and brotherhood. I'd like to end on a quote spoken by Princess Zahra Aga Khan in a keynote address at the conference of the International Association for Volunteer Effort in Edmonton, Canada. She said, and I quote, "Voluntary service is viewed as an integral part of daily life in the Ismaili tradition, never as a burdensome obligation or as an elective activity. Service is a means for such individuals to actualize Islam's ethics of inclusiveness, of compassion, of sharing, of respect for life, and of personal responsibility for sustaining a healthy physical, social, and cultural environment. Fundamental to this concept is the generosity of material resources, of time, of thought, and of knowledge." End quote. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kristen Whitaker. I'm a senior at Plano Senior High School. I'm an AVID, advanced via individual determination. Some like to refer to me as a community leader. I've received this title due to my vast array of leadership and community service abilities. I have worked with Path to Nourishment Ministries, Feeding the Homeless, and Dallas Leadership Foundation's annual City of Hope event, reading to terminally ill children at Scottish Rite Hospital, and many more amazing outreach opportunities. In doing all these things, I've learned leadership and community service go hand in hand. It takes a leader to stand up and serve the community. I'm not famous or a civil rights activist, but I am a leader and I understand the importance of serving my community. Anne Frank once said, "If you can't serve 100, just serve one." This quote is what I live by. I cannot serve 100 people. If I can't touch 100 lives, if I can't take 100 hours of my life, I can start with one. My mom always says, you have to start somewhere. So I'm here today to tell you, start somewhere. Start with yourself, start with your school, Start in your community. Start small because it's the little things that make a big difference. If we all start small, nobody will be able to stop us when we go big. In honor of Dr. Martin Luther King, boldly lead, brilliantly serve, continue the dream. Thank you.
How do you judge a person? By their appearance? Is it the color of their skin or hair? The way she wears pink on Wednesdays or the length of her skirt? Is it by their numbers, his height and weight, or her GPA or SAT score? Maybe it's by the manner of their being, how he lights up the room with his contagious smile, or how her confident air seems almost unbreakable. Or maybe, just maybe, it's by the content of their character. How he gives his heart and his time to serve a cause he believes in. How she leads a club, a school, a country to its feet. Hi, my name is Amy, and I'm so excited to represent Plano Senior High today. I'm here tonight because I hope we live in an age when individuals are judged not by their appearance or numbers, but by the content of their character. In the upcoming months, my generation will be judged, not just by race or numbers, but also by our character. How we've spent our time, how we've contributed to the community, how we've been leaders in what we do. I'm talking about the college admissions process. More than anything, it's to identify the movers and shakers of our generation, those who have the vision to lead others, the heart to benefit the world in some way, and the work ethic to accomplish it. I'm here tonight because I hope to be one of those movers and shakers. I have a motto: do well and do good. While doing well relates to excellence in what you do, for example, academics or sports or performing arts, doing good relates to doing good deeds and benefiting the world. This personal motto gives me inner motivation, whether that be serving as an NHS officer for my school's chapter of 650 members, or starting my own charity water campaign to raise money for clean water projects. The best and most important part is realizing the impact of your service. While it's easy to think, oh, I'm just one person, what can I do? It's important to remember that the actions of one Plano Senior High NHS member contribute to more than 20,000 hours of service per year, and that one donation of $20 provides clean water for a person living in a developing nation. Martin Luther King Jr. epitomizes the impact that one person can make through a lifetime of service and leadership. 50 years ago, he told us in his famous "I Have a Dream" speech that one day he hoped his children would not be judged by the content or by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. What better way to continue his dream and celebrate his legacy than to strive to boldly lead and brilliantly serve and to be better people? On a global scale, we have the potential energy of 7 billion. Now it's time to convert it to kinetic, to become the movers and shakers of the world right now. I'm here tonight because I have hope that we all strive to do that. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Jacob Abarha, and I'm pleased to be speaking to you all tonight. Emerson said, "Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." As we celebrate the legacy of Dr. King this evening, it only seemed appropriate to open with this quote to exemplify and pay homage to his fearlessness in forging a path for equality that few had ventured to explore before him. Dr. King's vision was one of brotherhood, a community working together to achieve a common good and promote the prosperity of all. In his eyes, service to the community was vital for the preservation of it. The fight he led for equality stemmed from a basic belief that man should help his fellow man, seek to see his benefit. That message is no more relevant than it is in today, with an expanding global community still combating many of the same problems we've encountered for years. Our world is the result of much progress and many successes, and yet we find ourselves with more valleys to traverse, more rivers to cross, more mountains to climb, more problems to solve. Dr. King, a visionary of his time, had been to that mountaintop, crossed those rivers. He realized that without a people willing to help each other, those obstacles would remain insurmountable forever. That, to me, is the essence of service. Yes, in the conventional sense, it's building entire villages and going on mission trips to third world countries, noble and altruistic endeavors entirely. But on a microcosmic level, it's any selfless act used to bolster someone else. It can be a pat on the back after a hard day for a friend. sharing an umbrella with a stranger. Service, in the sense that Dr. King used it, is just a word to convey the laying of a framework for community, because it is through the community that change is achieved. It strengthens that framework, fortifies the bonds between us, and makes people that much closer to positive change. Service is the means by which we as a people make a positive impact on our society. So it follows then that because service is the means by which to link everyone into a community, leadership is simply the means by which a community makes change. It doesn't involve having some superfluous title or knowing big words to impress bigger crowds. It's one person being the vessel for accomplishment of a goal everyone possesses. Leaders are those with the capacity to see past themselves and their surroundings to something greater, and the audacity to bring those ideas to the forefront. A lone man with a dream is an island. A man with a dream and a people to foster him is a leader. Leadership is a mathematical give-and-take relationship. It is the product of a brave spirit and a people willing to listen, directly proportional to the amount of trust and compliance between the parties. The greater the service within the community and the greater leader service to the community, the stronger that group, the stronger that leader, and the more successful their collective progress. Truly, leadership is a task for everyone within a society. At one time or another, we all have ideas that must be heard. We all have to work to support a common good. This is how we move forward, how we make it to the mountaintop together. Dr. King's message will always be with us. Let us rise up tonight with a greater readiness. Let us stand with a greater determination. And let us move on in these powerful days, these days of challenge, to make America what it ought to be. We have an opportunity to make America a better nation. Us, we. These values that the late Reverend upheld that we've convened here tonight to celebrate, they all begin with us, as a people, as a nation, as a community, standing together to see each other through the rough and walk hand in hand to a better tomorrow. The closer we grow, the farther we go. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Iris, and I'm very happy to be here tonight and talk to you. I remember how in elementary school, my 5th grade teacher talked to me about the ripple effect, and I'm sure all of you have heard something about this, because it is essentially a metaphor for the way kindness spreads from one person to the next. Much like rebounding ripples of pond water, one act of kindness can produce many more. Of course, we can learn many things about ourselves from observing nature, but we can also learn many things about ourselves from one another. In this sense, one act of kindness can touch off the next. One person can inspire another to do great things. I look up to leaders such as Martin Luther King Jr., Susan B. Anthony, Rachel Carson, and Franklin D. Roosevelt, because their passion to stand up for various ideas and people. In the words of Warren G. Bennis, leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. Thoughts can become words, and words can become actions. Selflessness makes a leader. An act of caring can be as simple as throwing away a piece of plastic or listening to the worries of a friend. It can also become more time-consuming, such as writing a world-changing novel or leading a humanitarian effort. Size really doesn't matter, but the way we choose to use the little time we are given does. I volunteer in the hope that the time and talents I spend will benefit someone or something else in some form or fashion. The power of the people is truly a force to be reckoned with. Inside every single one of us rests the ability to make the world a better place. Some of us may choose to nurture shelter animals, or some of us may choose to plant trees in the ashes of a forest fire. Some of us would travel all around the world to teach people how to farm with little water. It really doesn't matter what shape our kindness takes. It could be a growing ripple, a wave, or a single drop in a vast ocean. Time and commitment are truly the greatest gifts that can be made. It is as important for a leader to care about others as it is for him to care about his or her cause. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. make us want to become better individuals. It is important for us to care, and it is important for us all to help each other. Volunteering in my community has helped me realize this. Everyone can make a difference, and only together can we change the world for the better. Thank you.
Before our finale, I'd like to say a special thank you to all who have helped bring this event together and to Principal Lynn Ojeda and Williams High School for hosting us tonight. Please give them a round of applause. For our finale performance, please welcome the Plano Children's Chorale and special guests from the Plano Senior High School a cappella choir. Singing Let There Be Peace on Earth is under the direction of Derek Brookins of Plano Senior High. Join me in welcoming Plano Children's Chorale and featured guests. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes our program for this evening. Thank you for coming, and please enjoy the remainder of your evening.